She said her business trip was extended. I should have believed her. After all, she had always been meticulous, professional, the kind of woman who left no room for doubt. But something about the text she sent me that morning didn't sit right. Business trip extended, home next week. Just a few words, casual, almost mundane, but my gut twisted in a way it hadn't in months. There was a subtle hesitation in her tone, something I couldn't see on screen, but I felt it. A warning I refused to ignore. It started as a quiet suspicion, a flicker of doubt that wouldn't leave me alone. My life had always been orderly. Work, home, occasional dinners, and the routines that made marriage predictable and safe. But that text, so casual, so effortless, was like a sudden crack in the ceiling of a perfectly constructed life. I could almost hear the faint echo of a lie bouncing somewhere between her words. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed proof, something undeniable. The last thing I wanted was to be wrong and destroy what little trust we had left. So, I started tracking. First, a small, innocuous app, one I had installed months ago for safety. She never questioned it. It pinged her phone's location every 15 minutes, giving me a silent, unwavering watch over her movements. The first 2 days, she was in the city she claimed, attending meetings, dinners, client events. Everything was perfect. It was almost too perfect, the way she would leave the hotel in the morning, return in the evening, and send me a single photo with a smile and a caption about business obligations. But then, the third day, something changed. The location pinged slightly off, just a few blocks away from the office district. Not unusual, at first glance. Could be a dinner with a client, an errand, anything. But my gut tightened. The next day, the ping showed her in a small town an hour away from the city. Business meeting? I tried to tell myself. But why hadn't she mentioned this detour? And why did the app show her moving with a constant pattern, stopping briefly at cafes, boutique stores, and finally a small, nondescript building on the edge of town? A place I had never seen her mention in her work emails or conversations. I decided to dig deeper. I couldn't go there, at least, not yet. I needed confirmation, something she couldn't dispute. That evening, I hacked her email, something I had never imagined I would do, but desperation makes criminals of us all. The trail was subtle, carefully hidden, almost invisible. Meeting confirmations with ambiguous names, hotels not listed in the official company directory, even a rideshare receipt to the same small town she had visited. And then, the photo. A single picture she had sent herself from the hotel rooftop, skyline behind her, office buildings twinkling in the distance. I enhanced it, zoomed in, and my heart sank. There was someone with her. A man. Tall, wearing a dark coat, face half hidden in shadows. They were laughing, or at least pretending to, and the intimacy in the way they leaned into each other was undeniable. I didn't confront her immediately. I couldn't. That night, I replayed every interaction we had had in the last month. Every late meeting, every urgent client call, every time she insisted she had to stay late at the office. They weren't coincidences, they were all part of a carefully woven lie. The image burned in my mind, yet I waited. By the fourth day, I needed confirmation in person. I drove to the town, using every precaution. I parked 2 blocks away and watched the building. My heart thumped against my ribs like it wanted out. Hours passed. Then, just before sunset, the door opened. She stepped out, flawless as ever, but not alone. The same man from the rooftop photo, his hand brushing hers as they laughed, stepped behind her. I felt something inside me break and settle at the same time. Calm, precise. I didn't confront them. I didn't scream. I didn't run. I watched. I noted their patterns, the way she glanced around nervously, the way he tried to shield her from view. Everything I needed to know was right there, in the small gestures and half-hidden smiles. Later that evening, I returned home, pretending to be absorbed in my work, sending her a casual text. Hope the extended business trip is going well. Her reply was immediate, cheerful, oblivious, yes. Can't wait to be home next week. I smiled. She had no idea I already knew the truth. Over the next 2 days, I continued my silent surveillance, gathering every detail. The man's visits, their small meals together, even a quick trip to a nearby cinema. Everything documented, everything undeniable. I was no longer a husband full of doubt. I was a man with evidence, a silent observer in a story I never wanted to star in. Finally, the day she was supposed to return, I decided it was time. Not confrontation, not shouting, but a reckoning she couldn't ignore. I had everything ready, the location history, screenshots of her emails, the enhanced rooftop photo, even the rideshare receipts. I left them on the kitchen counter, along with a note, I know. When she walked in, smiling, tired but cheerful, she froze. Her eyes darted to the counter, to the stack of evidence, to the man's presence in her secret life exposed for the first time. For the first time, she looked vulnerable, human, and fearful. No excuses, no lies, no deflections. Just silence. I didn't yell. I didn't plead. I simply looked at her, calm, composed, and let the weight of truth sink in. It was the only justice she would understand, the undeniable, irrefutable evidence of betrayal, waiting silently in the room, louder than any argument I could have mustered. She tried to speak, her voice trembling. I shook my head. No. And just like that, the illusion ended. The life I thought we shared was over. I had uncovered the truth with patience, precision, and silence, the quietest, most devastating weapon I could wield. Watching her crumble before the reality of her own choices was far more satisfying than any confrontation or spectacle could ever have been. She had lied, deceived, and manipulated, but I had the truth. And sometimes, knowing the truth is more powerful than any revenge. Because in the end, the lie is gone, the mask is removed, and the one who betrayed is left facing a reality they can no longer control. I poured a drink, looked out the window, and watched the city lights flicker. Somewhere out there, she would have to answer for her choices. And I finally felt free.